In this video, I'm going to show you some simple strategies for ripening green tomatoes so you can enjoy them long after the harvest season has ended. It's the end of my gardening season. Nighttime temperatures are now in the low 40s, so I've harvested all my remaining tomatoes before the first freeze and added the vines to my compost pile. I used to think green tomatoes were useless and would just let them rot on the vines. It turns out that most of the tomatoes we buy in the store, even during peak season, were picked green, just like these. If you cut into a store-bought tomato, it may look red on the outside, but just beneath the skin, you'll find white flesh. A truly vine-ripened tomato, on the other hand, is red all the way through. You can encourage your tomatoes that are still in the vine to ripen by turning off the water about a month before you expect frost. You don't want them to wilt, but you do want to stress them slightly so they focus their energy on ripening the fruit. Once you pick your tomatoes, you can put them in a paper bag if you only have a few. Since I have a ton of tomatoes, I'm going to store them in 10-inch cube cardboard boxes. I just happen to have a bunch of these boxes, and they're the perfect size to share with friends and neighbors. The reason for putting them in a container is that tomatoes produce ethylene gas, a natural ripening hormone, and the box traps it, which speeds up the ripening process. Ethylene is lighter than air, so sealing the lid will trap more of it and cause the tomatoes to ripen faster. I've noticed that grocery store fruit crates tend to have lots of holes and gaps, which I presume is to slow down the ripening process so the produce can be transported long distances. In my next video, I'm going to run a test where I place a small fan inside a box and compare the ripening rate to a sealed box. By the way, I'm Tim, an electrical engineer who applies engineering principles to gardening. If you enjoy learning how science and engineering can be applied to gardening, please subscribe. The first step is to line the bottom of the box with a layer of paper. This will absorb moisture and help protect the box if any tomatoes start to rot. In the old days, people used to read newspapers made out of actual paper and would use them for this purpose. Instead, I'm using a roll of craft paper that we use to ship Vegetronix products. Place the tomatoes in layers, separated by sheets of paper, putting them stem side down. The stem end is firmer and less likely to bruise. Positioning them this way also slows moisture loss and helps prevent rot from forming around the stem scars. Try to use similar tomatoes in each box, ones with the same color and size. If you mix green and red tomatoes, the red ones will ripen and rot before the green ones are ready. Likewise, small and large tomatoes will ripen at different rates. If you want to stagger the ripening time, store your tomatoes in a cooler environment. Temperatures between 55 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit greatly slow the ripening process without harming flavor or texture. Around 50 degrees will essentially stop the ripening process, but it can also damage the tomato cells, degrading both flavor and texture of your tomatoes. In my case, I want most of them to ripen at the same time, so I can process them and put them in quart jars. Now that they're in boxes, it's time to wait for them to ripen. I'll show you a day-by-day time lapse of them ripening inside the boxes. If you made it this far in the video, I guarantee that you'll like my other videos and you might as well subscribe. Also, check out Vegetronix.com for cool gardening gadgets and automation ideas. Thanks for watching.